Welcome back to After the Battle. I'm your host as always, Daniel Levi, and joining me now is Jason the Kid Knight. Jason, welcome back to After the Battle.
I appreciate y'all having me. How's it going today?
It's going amazing. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Just picked my little girl up from school and headed to go grab me a bite to eat.
Yes, sir. So, dude, obviously you're going to fight Chas Skelly May 13th, UFC 211. We'll talk about that in a second, but how life-changing was it for you to get the biggest win of your career on Fox, on a platform like that against Caceres your last time out?
Man, it was a big win for me. I got a bonus from it, and it helped out a lot. And I know that after that fight, I got a lot more exposure. I've been doing a lot more podcasts and having a lot more fans reach out and tell me that they're my biggest fan. That they're going to be watching my fights from now on and stuff like that. So it's just a good thing for my career.
What kind of confidence do you get after beating a guy like Caceres? Because, I mean, this is a guy that was coming off a 5-round fight with Yair Rodriguez in Altitude. That's how tough this guy is. You took him out in the second round.
Man, it was definitely a confidence booster. I know that I can compete at, the top level with some of the top guys. But, it really... My confidence has always been up, It really wasn't that big of a booster, because I knew going into the fight the ability to beat him. I just, had to go in there and be on top of my game and make sure that I didn't make any kind of mistakes and fight as hard as I could and make sure that I made it my fight,
Definitely. Now, dude, obviously, I've been interviewing you since the Kawajiri fight, but now you're 3-1 in the UFC. You're clearly living your dreams. I mean, how does that feel, man? How's everything going for you?
Man, it feels great. I've got security for my family now, and everything's taken care of. Pretty much everything that I have, I own. I owe another $20,000 on my house, and my house will be paid off. And like you said, I'm 24 years old. Who would have ever thought, whenever I was 14 starting out, I never would have thought that by the time I'm 24, I'm going to, be set up and have stuff taken care of. And, for me, I've been trying to make sure that I get everything paid off so that way if something ever did happen, I go out there, break my leg next Saturday, I'm still going to be okay. My house is going to be paid. Everything's done and over with. I don't have to worry about later on down the road having to pay rent to somebody and stuff like that. It's all taken care of now.
You told me a while ago that it was one of your dreams to be able to train full time. Now that you've been able to do that for about a year or two, I mean, what's that like, dude? How's that changed your life?
Man, it's awesome. I don't got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go build a house no more. I get to wake up. I basically, if I want to, I can pretty much make my own schedule as far as training goes. But, I get to do what I want. If there's a day I want to take off and go jump in the boat, go fishing, or take off and go do whatever, I'm allowed to do that because my job, it allows me to, and on top of that, now I'm getting to train wherever I want to train. I got the money to do that now. If I want to bounce around from gym to gym, if I want to go to Thailand, I get to go. Stuff like that. It's an awesome experience that I'm able to live way more than my dreams. I'm able to do stuff that I never even dreamed of.
I'm glad you brought up Thailand because I was actually going to ask you, did you put any work for this camp in Thailand?
Yeah, man, I went to Thailand for vacation, and I got the call about the fight like a day or two before I left. I already had the vacation planned out and booked and everything before I ever went to Thailand. And I went out there and I stayed 2 weeks, me and my girlfriend, and the whole 2 weeks I was out there, I was mainly focused on vacation, but I got in a good solid week worth of good hard training and, good wrestling and everything with Coach Eric Ersch, good pad work. There's a guy out there, his name's Crew Kit. Crew, I guess that's kind of like their word for coach.
Yeah.
But his name was Kit. He's an awesome pad holder and, Muay Thai instructor. Got to train with him a little bit while I was there and had a lot of fun, in the process.
Did you happen to be there at the same time as James Vick again? Because I remember last time before your fight with Dan Hooker, he messaged me. He was like, bet the house on Jason Knight. Did you run into him again?
No, man. I messaged him while I was there, and the day that I was leaving out was the day that he was flying over.
Oh, gotcha.
So, we wound up not being able to run into each other. But, man, that's a cool guy, tough competitor, and I can't wait to, fight on the same card as him in, just a week or so, a little over a week now.
And, dude, obviously you're taking on Chas the Scrapper Skelly. I mean, look, when I first heard about this fight, I was thinking fight of the night. I mean, is that what you're expecting, or do you have something else planned?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's always that possibility for fight of the night. We're two tough opponents. We're going to come out there and he's going to, lay it all on the line just like I will. We're going to clash right in the middle of the cage. He's going to come forward. I'm going to come forward. And, it's always a possibility that we can get fight of the night. But the way I look at it, regardless, I'm trying to get one of those bonuses. It might not be fight of the night if he can't take me down, because if he can't take me down, I'm fixing to pick him apart standing up.
Speaking of him being able to take you down, so we all know the last time that you had a setback was against Kawajiri, and it's not like, he beat your ass or anything, but he was able to get timely takedowns and steal rounds like that. Are you at all worried about Chas Skelly doing that, or do you feel like you've evolved to the point where that's not going to be an issue anymore?
I don't believe he's going to be able to take me down easy at all. I know that he's a good wrestler, and there's always the possibility that he will be able to get me down at least once or twice in a fight, but he's not going to take me down at will. And, with the Kawajiri fight, if I'd have had more time to prepare, I could have stopped his takedowns as well. But, we mainly prepared. I had 2 weeks for that fight. We prepared for him to take me down, and I was going to try and tap him out off my back. So almost every time he grabbed for the takedown, I pulled guard and started trying to throw up submission. And, it was probably the worst game plan in the history of game plan. But, I made the mistake and I learned from it.
I mean, that's all you can do, right? And like you said, now you're 24 years old. You got 2 performance bonuses. And, I mean, it seems like you really turned things around.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. After that fight, I set it in my head that I wasn't ever going to game plan for a fight again. I'm just going to go out there and, see what happens and, answer every problem as it comes to me instead of trying to have something in my head set what I want to do, because it messes you up. You're thinking so hard on finishing this way or winning this way that you're leaving the other options. You're not even using the other options is what I was trying to say. You got the option to stand up or take the person down. And, if you choose, you're dead set on doing one, then, you might not even get an opportunity that you could have had if you just left your mind open,
That's a really good point. So with that being said, man, I mean, what goes through your mind when you visualize the fight?
When I visualize this fight, I see Chas Skelly. He's going to keep trying to come forward, but I'm not going to go backwards. He's good at fighting guys that go backwards for him. I'm not going to go backwards. Either one of two things can happen. We can meet right there in the middle of that cage, clash it out, and bang it, bang it out the whole fight, or he's going to go backwards for me. I'm not going backwards for him. I can promise you that. And he's going to try to take me down, I guarantee you, probably at least 3 or 4 times around. And I'm going to stop 97% of his takedowns. And on the feet, I'm going to pick him apart. And I can almost guarantee you that, unless he's made a dramatic improvement in his stand-up, then I'm going to pick him apart on the feet.
Now, I ask you this every single time you're on the show, but I mean, it keeps happening over and over again. How do you feel about being the underdog once again?
I'm good with it, man. I mean, the more they underestimate me, the more I get to prove them wrong. You know, I love it. And, you know, everybody's sleeping on me, and one of these days they're just going to stop sleeping. They're going to wake the hell up and figure out who Jason Knight is. And, you know, it's going to be sooner rather than later.
Well, check this out, man. So the odds makers opened you as the underdog, but the fans love you so much that they actually moved the line to now it's a pick'em between both of you guys. So the fans got your back. It's just the odds makers got to learn.
Yeah, that's what it is. The odds makers, they think they know shit, and they really don't, you know. Especially when it comes to me, you know, I'm all about proving people wrong. I love it. You know, you root against me, I'm going to try my hardest to prove you wrong and to shut your damn mouth. You know, that's like when I fought out in Australia, everybody, the whole damn crowd, they booed me. All it did was add fuel to the fire, you know.
And real quick, speaking of Australia, did you hear that the opponent you fought in Australia, he's actually, you basically sent him out the weight class.
Ah, shit, he moved to 55?
Yeah, he did.
Hell yeah, man. Well, you know, that's kind of a thing that I feel, you know, I don't really feel good about it, but I don't really feel bad about it. You know, if he can't hang, then, you know, if he can't hang with the big dogs, get off the porch. I can't take anything away from Daniel Hooker, though, man. It was a tough fight and had a hell of a lot of heart.
Definitely. Now, are you excited to fight so close to home, man? Because, I mean, it's same time zone, same everything. I'd imagine you're going to have a lot of people there. He's going to have a lot of people there. And it's going to be quite the environment.
Oh, yeah, man. I've got about 50 people coming here from Mississippi. My whole entire family's going to be there. And then on top of that, I've got quite a few fans out there in Texas. You know, friends that I've had for a long time, they're going to be there as well. So, you know, he might have a little bit bigger crowd than me, being that he's the hometown guy, but he doesn't realize that this is as close as I can get to being in my hometown. So right now I'm the hometown guy too.
Now, pretty much every fight you're in is like a fight of the night type fight. Now, I mean, is that just who Jason Knight is? Or, I mean, are you working on that? Or do you just enjoy fighting like that? Like, what's your take on it?
Yeah, man. If the other guy gets out there and competes with me, you best believe I'm gonna have that type of performance every time, because that's my type of fight. I like to get in there, grit my teeth, get nasty and dirty, and have some fun. You know, it's not fun to me if I'm just, you know, in a little, you know, pick and poke kind of fight where everybody's trying to be safe and trying not to get hurt. I want the kind of fight where I see who can take the most punishment. You know, let's bang it out. If you can knock me out, good. If I can knock you out, good. If you can fucking snap my arm, good. If not, I'm going to try to snap your arm, you know, and that's the kind of fight I want. I want the hard work and determination to come out every fight. I mean, I didn't work my ass off in the gym to go out here and, you know, have a easy little match where I'm trying to be as safe and as careful as I can. I want a rough-ass, tough-ass fight every time.
Now, obviously, you're about to reach a bit of a milestone. I mean, this is your 5th UFC fight. You're halfway there to 10 fights, man. How do you feel about your career evolution and progression, man?
I feel good, man. I mean, as of right now, the UFC is keeping me pretty active, and I'm going to keep begging them for more and more fights and try to stay more and more active. You know, I would like to fight, you know, 4 or 5 times a year, if possible, every year. And hopefully if I keep impressing people and keep doing my thing, then Dana White and Sean Shelby, they'll get me back in there as quick as they can each time. You know, as long as my body holds up and, you know, health permits it, then I'll be back in there every chance I get.
Now, as your career progresses, obviously your goals have to evolve. And, you know, I'd imagine your goal is to crack the top 15, your goal is to be the world champion. But what are some of your, you know, smaller short-term goals, obviously besides beating Chas Skelly on Saturday night?
Man, mainly, you know, it's not really about that to me. Like, I would love to climb the rankings. And I believe that if I beat Chas Skelly, I'll be top 15, or I'll be fighting the top 15 opponent. For me, it's about the fight. It's about the fun and going out there and having a blast. And my short-term goal right now is to beat whoever they put in front of me until they give me that Korean Superboy fight. Yeah. Once they give me that Korean Superboy fight, I know it's going to be the type of fight that I want to be in. It's going to be that hard-ass fight that, at the end of it, we both got so much respect for each other because we just went out there and gave it everything we got. And I know Korean Superboy, he's the closest in the rankings, for me to call out that's going to give me that kind of fight. Yeah, Chas Skelly is going to be a tough fight. I do believe that. But I don't really believe that, he's just going to grit his teeth and take everything I got to give him just like Korean Superboy would. I think the Korean Superboy, he's kind of like me in that sense. I'm going to try to knock you out. You see if you can knock me out. And, let's have fun doing it.
Definitely. Now, obviously you're a born fighter, right? But if you weren't a fighter, what would you do? Now, I know that's kind of a dumb question because you are a fighter, but the reason I'm asking, man, is because, like, with a lot of these guys, they can be analysts, they can do all these things, but like I said, you're a born fighter. So what do you think you'd be doing if you weren't in the UFC right now?
I can go ahead and tell you for sure what I'd be doing. I would be building houses just like I was before I got to the UFC, or like I was for my first 2 UFC fights. Until the Jim Allers fight, all the way up until 2 weeks before the fight, I was building houses. And that's something that of course nobody wants to go to work and bust their ass and stay out in the heat and work hard all day. But that's something that I love to do. I like to get out there and put my hands on something, build something with my hands, and then sit back and look at what I did. I did that. I built that house. I built that shed, stuff like that. It's nice to sit back and see what you can actually do with your hands,
That's pretty cool, man. So obviously this card you're fighting on is the most stacked card of the year, and there's such intriguing matchups, and I want to know your perspective on this one, man, because look, Dustin Poirier is fighting Eddie Alvarez, and when I think about a fight like that, I think that they're going to throw down until one guy falls. The question is, which guy's going to fall?
Man, I'm kind of like you. I don't know who's going to fall. It's going to be a tough-ass fight for sure. I know I can tell you who I want to win. I would like to see Dustin Poirier win, because he's closest to the hometown guy, and he's kind of had the same struggle that I've had. Had to work for what he had. He didn't just. I don't really know about Eddie Alvarez. I don't know anything about him, but I know that Dustin Poirier, he didn't have an easy life. He struggled to get where he's at, and he made it. So I would like to see him climb those rankings a little bit further.
In your weight class, Yair Rodriguez is fighting Frankie Edgar. I mean, what are you thinking for a fight like that, man?
I think they're both opponents. I look at them both like they're possible opponents. But I see Frankie Edgar, if he can close that distance, Frankie Edgar's going to grind him out, make it a nasty, mean fight, and beat Yair up. But at the same time, if Yair is somehow able to keep that distance, then Yair's going to pick Frankie apart. And, it could be a tough night either way for either fighter. It's just depending on who's able to impose their will and get off, their technique.
And speaking of future opponents, this one's not on your card, but in about a month from now, Jose Aldo's fighting Max Holloway for the belt that you're gunning for. Who do you think is going to walk away the champion?
I believe Max Holloway should get the belt because I think Jose might be a little past his prime, but at the same time, you cannot count Jose Aldo out. I mean, everybody's seen what that man's done and what he's capable of, so you can't really count him out. But I honestly believe, in my opinion, that Max Holloway is going to walk away with it because he's younger, he's more hungry, and he's at the prime of his career.
Now, Jason, before we get out of here, it's going down Saturday, UFC 211, May 13th, Dallas, Texas. If it were up to you, how would this fight go down?
If it's up to me, the fight, the way I'm planning on winning is standing up, beating the tar out of Chas Skelly until I put him to sleep. You know, I would love to catch him with like a nice head kick or something and have him laying on his back on the mat looking up at me.
Well, Jason, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me right here, right now on Half the Battle. It's always a pleasure, man. If you want, let the audience know where they can follow you on social media. Anything else you want to tell the fans, let them know.
If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Jason Knight 23, I believe. I believe so. At Jason Knight 23. Instagram is at JTK the Kid. If you want to follow me on Facebook, you can go to my fan page. It's Jason the Kid Knight. And if you try to add me on my regular page, I'm sorry, but I've got over 5,000 friends, and they won't let me have any more. And I'd like to take a few seconds to thank all my sponsors: R. James Construction, Coastal Click LLC, Performance Auto Upholstery, Dreamers Construction, Razor Sharp Nutrition, The Bluff Bar and Grill, Brooms AC and Heating, Tap Out Construction, Underground Studio Tattoos and Piercing, Team Waste, The Print Shed, Integrity Plant Services, and Danny Cooper. I don't know what I'd do without you guys. You know, y'all helped me out a lot getting to this fight and preparing for everything. Helped me take a lot of the stress off. Thank y'all so much. Also, everybody at Allen Belcher MMA Club, all my coaches, teammates, everybody, thank y'all so much.
Jason, thanks again for the time, and best of luck in the fight, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too, man. Peace.